Well, Drew, welcome to 33 Contemporary Gallery. It's been really exciting to have you here, to host you here in Chicago. Welcome back to the Windy City.
Thank you very much, sir.
In this exhibition, the Magnetic North paintings, just like the title says, it's like a magnet that brings you back home. And that's when I really want to start. What do you miss most about home, about your homeland of Canada?
I think it's the change of seasons, the colors, the colors that come with the change of seasons, the expanse of land. Having lived now in Asia, we don't have quite the land mass. So coming back to Canada is the paintings reflect that.
How long have you been away from Canada?
I've been away for 15 or 16 years full time. But on and off for about 30 years, traveling to Asia and coming back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this exhibition, as I remember, as we began to plan this show probably over a year ago, thinking about, the body of work that all this exhibition was produced specifically for Chicago. You have a history with Chicago.
I do.
And that that's where the conversation really began. You as a Canadian artist back in 1999 or 2000-ish, you came to Chicago, you had 2 exhibitions here. I saw your work at one of the exhibits. I never met you, but I met your beautiful work, and I fell in love with it. I remember your name for many years, 20 years passed, then we got in touch through social media, and now has led to this exhibit. So that's a lot of conversation just summarized in like 3 sentences right there, right? That you and I have been chatting about. But as we talk about the exhibit, as we talk about, the Magnetic North paintings, which back then did not have a title, this body of work did not have a title, something that came along. Tell me about, and remind me if I'm wrong, but I believe you started with the small pieces, right? With the series of the smaller ones. So tell me about, what was going through your mind as you were going through the small works first?
Yeah, good question. The smaller works are always a challenge for the artists that I know and myself, and really they are sort of. I was pushing the techniques on these small works. The larger works take a little bit more time, a little bit more development to work. The small ones become studies, and they drive the color, design of the paintings, of the show. So they really are the start pieces. I work out my colors, I work out my compositions, and something comes in those studies, which of course came to the Magnetic North. And that really came from the smaller works and just experimenting with the colors of my home, of Canada, of the North America. So, and that's really where it starts. And as I develop through those smaller works, little elements start to appear that then reappear in some of the larger works.
Great. And I'm glad you touched on the color, because I wanted to talk about that. Color is something that for you is very important, although you have done also more monochromatic works, black and white pieces, but color you kind of pulls you back, like Magnetic North that pulls you back in terms of color.
That's it.
In this particular series, I think there's some dominant colors that prevail through the exhibition. You got like this beautiful gold, shimmery paint, almost metallic, that as you move around with the lighting, it kind of has a really beautiful effect. You got the blue, like the sky blue, the ice blue, almost like underwater blue when the lake, turns into ice.
Absolutely.
You got also this kind of like orangey earth type of colors, and those are kind of like more dominant. The red color is very minimal. It's kind of accentuated and used almost as a way to give a final touch to some of the pieces. Now, the show that I saw back in 2000 or so, there was a lot of red. So it's almost like a nice, like a reversal of that,
and I think
about that.
Yeah, there's I think as an artist, I'm known for my reds. I'm known for my muted colors. I'm known for very structured works, monochromatic works, with an element of red, or the painting being almost entirely red, with a slight monochromatic color added in. And I think in this case, I wanted to show a little bit more color.
Yeah.
And it's also development for the artist. The artist can't stay, just because I might have used red or monochromatic, creams and blacks and grays in the, the 2000 show, or 2002 here in Chicago. That series came from a different mindset. And I was also creating that series in North America, in a city. So it was very reflective of my environment, my current environment, so the grays and the blacks and the structure. Whereas now, while I'm living in Asia, there's a lot more organic colors, a lot more natural colors. And also thinking about my home in Canada, in the far north, the north and the magnetic north, being much more colorful in its seasons changes. So this is really what I was trying to evoke in the work.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah. And something that really caught my attention back in 2020 when we reconnected, or reconnected with you, work connected with you the first time, right? It's always kind of tricky which one it is, right? But when I connected with you, connected, and we both connected through conversations, and I saw your work. There are some elements in your work that over time have remained, characteristic of what Drew Harris marked. You have that line, that precision of line that almost creates a sense of separation between two planes in the painting. So in a formal way, it kind of provides a way of structure where you may have a surface that is chaotic or very organic, but then there's like that element of precision, which is something that I love from your works back then, and I'm so happy to be able to see them, still in the work now. Tell me about that. Is it also, as a formal element, but is it also a symbolic element, that separation?
Not necessarily, although it's intriguing. The works I've always tried to create a patina, something that might have age, or like looking at an old wall, a wall of like hoarding around a building, perhaps, or an old stone wall or a brick wall. There's that surface, but I almost want to go back and look behind it. So that little line that I put on, while it acts as a signature and a finishing piece for me, it also creates some interest that I want to, go in and look behind that. What is behind that wall? There's a history somewhere in there. So I'm really just playing a trick in a way. But it's also a signature piece.
And I think that's what kind of brings it's almost the way I see them, becomes like a portal to another, to another world, to another state of mind, to another something, right?
Yeah, and it is really the way we look at something of age, like a really well-worn wall, as I say, or something well-worn. There's a history to it. There's a story. That is not always told by the surface. It's the history that has been made up by the layering and the touching of the wall. You want to go in there and find out exactly what that history is.
Right. So and each layer that you create there's a history from it. And you talk about surface. I love your surface, and people that have come and see the show, they are really attracted to the richness of your surface. Something that really attracted me, because when I saw your work in photographs as you were building this body of work, the magnetic north paintings, they seem quite layered, but also textured. But I'm totally surprised how flattened they are. And I guess it's because of your technique. Tell us a little bit about your way of working.
Well, I think I've changed again as a painter from when you first saw the work in 2002 or 1999. We've never quite figured that out. But that work was very painterly and very, using a brush, using pieces of card and lots of texture and flat against a wall. Now my works are almost all entirely worked flat. So as a painter, I think there's a natural organic movement in paint, and a painting will paint itself. It will find its momentum, and it will also stop when it needs to stop. and that's when I take it, put it on the wall, and start to restructure it. So a lot of these paintings are done in very small layers, very thin layers, very washed out. So 10% paint and 90% water. So it's very, very liquid, and I just let that sit very patiently, and as it dries, it develops its own character. And that character then I can read into, because I can see in 360 degrees of that painting. And then I put it on the wall, and it starts to begin telling me the story. And then it will tell me exactly which way it's supposed to be, which I then finish it in that regard. So,
excellent. And as I look at the work, that's surrounding us too, particularly the piece in the back of us, this big one that kind of is a centerpiece for the show as you're walking into the exhibition. There's also a sense almost like we're looking at the Earth from outer space.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because you're painting them from an aerial view down as you're painting on the floor.
Absolutely.
Are you conscious about those things as you're painting them?
Oh, for certain. I've always liked the idea of looking down or looking up at a sky, at a distant. We can see so many wonderful shapes and colors and hues, whereas the land, we never see it from above.
Right.
And I envision myself quite high above, like a NASA image of space, and just seeing the overall natural form of Earth's form. And this is why, again, that I don't try to push the narrative in the painting to something too stringent. I let the painting do what it wants to do, and it will find its own thing. And that's come through years. Shortly after that Chicago show, I took my work to Asia, and through experimentation, I was using the weather to actually create my work. The rain,
like physically the heat, putting the work out in
physically
the rain.
Putting it. And I did a series called The Weather Works, and it was one of the better series I had done at the time, because I let nature take its own course. So the paintings were done during the day, left out overnight, and the dew and the animals and the little critters would crawl all over it, and it became, there was something magical about that. And then I just came in as a support to structure it and to finish it and to do my little things to it that made it a complete painting. And it was really the painting doing its own work.
Let nature do the painting.
Absolutely, like Earth. If you're looking down on Earth, we don't create the large land masses. We don't create the colors. Earth does that. And it does it through its seasons. So really, that's really what I'm trying to get at.
And you talk about nature in a way also now that we had an opportunity to chat together for, while we eat breakfast or we're driving somewhere. You have also a great affinity for nature. Care for, the future of, of the world as we move ahead, with pollution, with climate change, all these things that are very much in mind as you put together a world. So there's this underlying message too about, the beauty of the earth, the beauty of what we have around, and the opportunity that we still have to keep what we have, maintain it. Tell me a little bit about that, because it's kind of a part of your thinking, part of your process, and it's in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And I think I'm inspired by people like Edward Bertinsky, which is a Canadian photographer, where he's documenting our changing landscapes. The landscape in Canada is important to me, and more so as I age. I'm starting to look back on my youth, spent semi-north of Toronto, north in the northern area, in nature. I've started, I grew up in a very sort of pristine area. And since, that area has developed into, development such as what we have in any big city, or the throes of a big city. So it's expanding, and our nature is getting, it's the subject of problems, such as pollution, overdevelopment. So I am concerned about that, because the more we take away from nature, it's harder for it to come back. And really, that's what I'm trying to convey in the work. It's really about it's a subtle message of just keeping our Earth in its movement, in its color, its changing seasons.
As the way it's supposed to be.
As the way it should be, but you know, and we can change it. We can change it if we all collectively agree that it can be changed.
Right.
But we have some way to go, and but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your work kind of reminds us of that. You know, brings us back to that realization.
Absolutely.
In a subtle way, without really screaming about it. I think brings us back to the earth, to nature, to look at our world in a new way.
Yeah, I think so.
And as we wrap it up, Drew, this beautiful exhibition here at 33 Contemporary Gallery in Chicago, the magnetic north paintings, just like any magnet, like there's that force that brings you somewhere, right? Tell me the importance of this body of work in the context of your career, like bringing you back to North America and starting a new journey from there.
It's a big story, and I think it's the most important currently in my life. We all transition through life, and we find ourselves in markets quite unexpectedly. I really had the intention to bring my work back to North America after being away for 15 years. There's a certain market in the Asian market, but this is my home. North America is my home. This is my sensibility. This is this is where I was born, and I include all of that in North America as a continent. But I haven't shown here for now about 15 years, so it was really important, and I pushed the envelope. I pushed the message. I contacted you, and you were my conduit to bringing work back, and emotionally and physically bringing the work here to the continent that I grew up on. So, I couldn't be happier, and it's a natural change for, as artists we grow, and our markets change. I'm back into the market that I really am very proud of. I've done well with, and now the friendship.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming here in person to Chicago. Welcome back again to the Windy City. We invite our friends who are watching this. If you want more information, contact 33 Contemporary Gallery. Visit us here in Chicago. The exhibition is also available online. There's also a beautiful catalog of this exhibition that is available from our website as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Well travels now as you continue your journey now up north from Chicago to Canada.
Yes.
To visit back home and to be at the place that calls your name.
Yes. Well, you've welcomed us, and our visit here has been amazing, and we continue, as you say, now north.
Coming up north.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, my friends, for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. Bye.